Hey, this is Alprex. Welcome back to part 2 of my S3000 workflow / footwork jungle track from scratch tutorial. So we left off in the last one finishing up the vocal chops. Now I kind of want to start by kind of arranging what we have so far. Right now there's just 2 sequences and they're both sharing the same tracks other than the melodics and the vocals. So I want to break those out, make the kick part a little bit longer and add some variation there. So going to start by doing that. I'm not going to talk too much here, just to follow along. I know the pyramid screen is a little bit difficult to see here, so not really much I can do about that. I don't know why. It looks great in person, but through the camera it's hard to see at this angle. So yeah. So I'm just moving these 2 sequences over. This first one will probably have some kind of like little intro, and then we'll kind of break things down a bit, and then these will be our 2 first drop sequences. Kind of want to get this whole section built out, and then we can look at building another part where we can sample a break and chop that up. So yeah. So I'm going to start by adding some variation to this kick pattern. So this will be the kick pattern we use for the first 8 bars, and then I will go into pattern mode and duplicate this and add some more variation for the other section here. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. So we'll just save that for the first part. And start working with snare. Yeah, I like that. That's kind of cool. So the first half of this, the snare's in like halftime, and then just in these last 3 bars, the snare kind of picks up. Just adds a bit more variation. So our hats, we're using the Euclidean sequencer, so you can't change the length. It's just, it's based on the number of steps like we showed in the last video. So we can take this crash one. I probably don't want to crash every 4 bars anyway, so we can duplicate this and then just go over to here and turn this off. Yeah, that's cool. So it'll just be to kick off the 8 bars, and we'll probably do the same thing on the other sequence as well. So again, you can't see the screen right now, but I do need to fix up this bass. So if we hold down this first note here, basically the length is set to 1 step. So this bass isn't actually going a full quarter note like I want it to. So we need to change that. And then see, this one is only going 2. Again, we want that to go across 4. This is also only going 2. So this note shouldn't actually be here. It should be moved 1 over. But you can kind of adjust the micro timing here. So you can see this one's already plus 41%. We can just copy this. And then paste it, and then just get rid of this. And then we'll just adjust this. So this is plus 75%, so it's not actually on the, it should be over here on the third beat. But it's just because I didn't quantize anything and I just played it in. So I'm gonna kind of go through and tighten this up. And then elongate these as well. So this should be a quarter note and not just like 2 beats. This is supposed to be a quarter note pattern, so again, this is plus 79% on the micro timing, so this should actually be rolled over to the next bar. So let's fix that. And then pretty much all of these should be 4 steps long. And you know, only this one was actually 4 steps long. And the reason I'm doing this now is because I'm going to duplicate this track. So if there are any sort of issues in the first 4 bars, I'm going to have to fix them twice if I duplicate this now. So it should be okay. So now this is 8 bars long. So for the first 8 bars, I'm going to leave this bass the way it is. And when we create the second pattern for this other sequence here, I'm going to add some sort of little bass fill at the end. So with the squat pyramid, the way that sequences work, it remembers what you have muted. So which tracks you have muted. So if you're in track mode, like whenever I tap here, let's say I mute these 3 tracks. That's now part of this sequence. So if you go over to this sequence here, and then go back, you can see these are still muted. So the way you build out sequences is to basically mute tracks that you don't want, and then set the pattern for each track. So the kick, for example, is set to pattern 1 on this sequence. But if we look at our Vox here, this sequence is actually set to pattern 2. Again, I don't know if you're able to see this, but up at the top here next to the track name, it says P2. Now if we go to this other sequence, it's set to P1. What I want to do is build out this sequence to have, you know, patterns specifically for it. And then this sequence will have patterns that are specifically for that one. So right now we have 2 Vox patterns and 2 melodic patterns. So we'll build out a second kick pattern and then hats, and I'll make some changes to those as well. So the kick we might want to keep the same, but we may want to make changes at some point. So instead of just leaving it on pattern 1, I will go into pattern mode here, and then we'll just copy this and then paste it here. So now if we change this, now on this sequence, it'll be using kick pattern 2. So for the snare, we might want to do the same thing. So if we're in pattern mode here, we can copy this, paste it, and then select that. So now this second sequence is using snare pattern 2. And we'll probably do the same for these tops, because I would like to try and add some variation to the hats at least. So let's start with that. Let's try and change these Euclidean sequencers, at least on the open and closed hat, and come up with something else for the second pattern. Okay, it sounds pretty cool. So let's do the same thing for these percussion tracks as well. 1, 2, 3 here. So this is track 1. And if you press both step and track at the same time, that takes you into pattern mode. just by changing the number of hits within this 16 steps, we're getting a totally different pattern here. And so each of these little percussion hits is now kind of playing off of each other and being canceled out because of the different, or because of the mute group. So before we start working on the intro, something we might want to think about is what kind of elements we want to be able to bring in and out on the fly for these drop sections. So the first thing I can think of is probably the percussion. We probably don't want that playing the whole time. And I could build out sequences that have one version with the percussion muted and one with it unmuted, or I could do it live and hit all three of these at the same time and unmute them. Something that might be more fun would be taking advantage of this touchpad here. So what I like to do is use this, because there's XY controls. So for the Y direction, usually I like to assign this to a filter on the S3000, and we'll go through how to do that. So let's do it on this end first. So I'm going to select just the first percussion track, which is up here. And we'll hold assign. Oops. And then on the screen here, you probably still can't read this. It says assign touchpad Y2, and then we're just going to use a MIDI CC. And I go with 2, which is breath control. And I will explain why in a minute here. So now if we move the XY pad, it's showing the CC values. I brought the camera in a little bit closer this time, so hopefully there's less glare on the screen. That also means you're not going to see the buttons on the left-hand side here, so I'm just going to point out what I'm clicking on. So if we want to control something from an external sequencer or MIDI controller, in this case I'm using the pyramid, and we want to control the filter using the assignable XY control. So on the pyramid, we've already assigned the Y direction to MIDI CC2, which is breath control. So if you click on global here and go into MIDI, so you can see here there is only one external control option. So this is APM external controller. So that's assignable program modulation. And so this number here, I've set it to 2. You're basically just setting the MIDI CC that it's going to be looking for. While that might seem limited, you can set up multiple programs to receive MIDI control over the same CC. So I can have the XY mapped to multiple programs on the Akai. So how we would do that is if we go into single program, then go into our percussion here, and go into the key group. And here we're going to want to change this to all, because we want to set this modulation up for all of the samples in this program. So if you click on filter now, if we adjust the filter on this percussion here, let me just solo this. Okay. So now you can see, well, you can hear that as we adjust this filter frequency, it's affecting all 3 of the samples that are in this program, which is what we want. But we want to be able to control this externally. So on the right-hand side here, these are your different modulation sources. So you can actually have 3 different things modulating the filter frequency. So you go all the way to the left, you have no source, bend, pressure, and then external. So external takes whatever you send in. So in this case, we've chosen MIDI CC2, and it listens for. So external listens on whatever MIDI CC we chose in the global menu there. So we picked 2, and we set up 2 on here. So let's just change the depth. to -50 actually, because I'm gonna leave the filter all the way open, and then we will just have this go the other way. So now, as I'm moving my finger up and down on this y-axis on the touchpad, it's opening and closing the filter. So now we can use that in performance. So if we bring everything else back in, go back to the multi here. So we can have this percussion out. Here, so let me turn the volume up on that a little bit. And we can slowly filter it in. One thing we might want to adjust here is maybe adding a little bit of resonance to this filter. So again, if we go back into key group, make sure all is still selected. Go down to resonance. Usually 4 or 5 is good. If you go too far, then it's, well, here I'll show you. Oh, wrong program, 1 second. There we go. I don't know, I find 5 usually works pretty good. It's not like too over the top. There, and now when I'm performing this track, whether it's live or when I'm recording, I can just bring this in and out throughout the drop, just to add some variation, without having to have separate sequences or muting and unmuting things. So you might want to go ahead and save. So now, I mean, you can go ahead if you want and add that same modulation to any track that you're sequencing, which is kind of cool. I usually just do the percussion and the breaks. Maybe I'll add it to the vocals so I can bring those in and out whenever I want as well. Actually, we can do that, and then you can hear how that sounds. So let's go back to programs and find our Vox. Again, make sure it's on all still. The nice thing is that these parameters, like what you're editing, sticks no matter what program you're on. So if you edit a program and have this on all, and then you go to another program, it keeps it set to all. So it's really easy to kind of go through and do this to multiple programs. There we go. So now on the pyramid, I have to then assign the same MIDI CC to the XY control for the vocal track. So that's what allows me to control multiple tracks using the same CC, is that the pyramid lets you set assignments per track. So depending on which track is selected, your assignments actually change, which is really useful. So let me just do that. There we go. So now we have that filter assigned, or that filter control assigned. So now if we go back to the multi here. We can easily take the vocals out. I can change to the percussion track. I can filter those out. Change back to the vocal. And filter that back in. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do that to the melodics channel as well, and then we can start working on the intro. All right, so I've gone ahead and duplicated this first sequence here. I kind of figured maybe after the intro, we'll go into some kind of like 4 on the floor beat and kind of bring up the energy a bit. I still won't bring in the bass yet. I want to save that for these drop ones here, but we can pick up the energy here and then do a little breakdown and then go into the drop. So let's do that. So we're going to want to just start a new kick pattern here, or just copy this. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, that's cool. So now we can bring this snare back in here. So this is pattern 3. So we haven't actually used this pattern yet because we have the snare muted in the intro. So we can just modify this. I think I'm going to leave the percussion the way it is. I think that sounds pretty cool, but let's change the hats here. I don't think I want the closed hat. I think we're just going to have an open hat and just do it on like quarter notes, or sorry, not quarter notes, but maybe like every second, eighth note type of thing. So quarters, but you know, moved over. So let's do a new pattern for this. What's really cool is that what I did there, I set it to like 4 fills and 16 steps, which is normally going to give you, you know, every beat. But then you can utilize the rotation function here and just move it over so that it's in the right position for like your standard, you know, house kind of beat. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's make some changes to this snare. I don't want to just keep using the same snare roll for the entire song. Yeah, that's cool. And then so right now we have nothing for the melodics, so we can change that too. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, that's sounding really good. So let's go back. So then we have our intro here. Interesting. Oh, that's right. I've got to mute this on the intro. Yeah, that's sounding pretty good. So we can kind of connect these together a little bit more, and then maybe build out this breakdown section. So I'm just gonna see how I might want to connect these two sections. So we know we want to start this one without the percussion and just have the hats going, and then you know, we'll be going into here. But to kind of put those together a bit more, we can just play around a little bit, and then try and map it out in the sequences. Yeah, maybe we can do something like that where the percussion and the hats just like drop out. I only dropped the hats there, but I think it would sound better if we also dropped the percussion. So I don't really want to do that live. It's just kind of a pain because there's, you know, basically 6 or 5 tracks that I would have to cut out with my hands. So I'm going to build this out as a sequence here. So let's take these 2 drop ones and I'll move them over. Just so they're at the end and kind of out of the way. I don't want to overwrite them by accident, so. Yeah, there we go. So now we have this just built out, so I don't have to like worry about trying to manually mute stuff on that. And we can just play this for as long as we want, so I can just use it as like a, you know, a 2-bar little cutover thing. Yeah, something like that. So that works pretty well. And then we can start building out. This will be our little breakdown. All right, so I've taken a minute here and just kind of tweaked these a little bit just to work out some of the transitions. So, you know, we'd start here, and then you go into here. And this I've just basically dropped everything except for the vocal. And then we'll come into this 4 on the 4 bit. I've created a little variation here, and all I've done is drop the vocals out and dropped one of the percussion tracks out, so that way it creates a different sort of vibe. And then when we're coming out of here to go into the drop, for this I'm just going to manually mute the kick and the hat. So let's kind of play through that and see how it goes. You know, and those two would probably play twice through. So that basically gives us an intro, a little breakdown, and then into the first drop. And then, you know, we could probably reuse this later, maybe coming out of this drop, maybe instead of going, you know, playing both of these twice, this one will play twice, and then we'll go back to this, but we'll just create a copy of this so we can add some bass to it or something. I don't know, just an idea. So yeah, we will work on that next. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and we're gonna copy it here. Wait, hold on. Yeah, okay. So we'll play this one, and then this one, and then we'll play this again, and then right here. That didn't paste. I don't know why. Hold on. Oh, that's why I didn't actually click. And this one, I'm gonna add a bass line to, so we'll do that in just a second. And this more kind of cut down version, we're gonna go back to that again. So let's copy that. And so the bass is gonna obviously drop back out here. And then my idea is that once we chop up a break, we can kind of filter in a breakbeat here, and then go into the next section, which will be much more break driven and have a totally different bass line and vocals and melodic stuff. So cool. So now let's work on a simple 4 on the floor kind of bass line for this. So we can see obviously the bass track is still muted here. I don't want to use the same bass line, so we're going to create a new one. It'll be probably pretty similar. And I'm just going to cut this down here. It doesn't need to be 8 bars. Couldn't remember what note I needed here. So I'm just going to drop this down. And we'll make this 4 steps. And then I'm just going to copy this. Oh, I'm on the last page, that's why. Okay. Oops, I did the wrong thing. So I think what I'm going to do here is just set it so every 4th note maybe goes up an octave. And then maybe this last one, we'll just pick a different note in the key here. So. Maybe G sharp. Maybe we'll pick that up an octave though. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So the next thing we want to do is look at chopping up a break. So we want that to come in over here, and then we'll kind of like break down and then go into a drop and have a bunch of chopped up breaks. So I don't really want to do like the standard Amen or Think break. I've already chopped those up. I could just pull up the programs and use those, but let's find something more interesting. I have this folder. It's called All the Breaks. I can't remember where I got it, but it's got a ton of stuff in it. I want to find something that's got a lot of ghost hits. Oh, this could be kind of fun. Let's try it. Alright, so let's sample this. And we'll just create a new name here. So we'll just call this, I don't know, it's Detroit Emerald, so we'll just call it Detroit Break. Or Det Break. Here, we'll just do that. Cool. Let's try 10K. And this is almost 10 seconds, so we'll try that. Yeah, mono, and let's arm this. Yeah, that's cool. So now we want to try and basically repitch this. So similar thing we did with the melodic stuff, except this is gonna have to be a lot more tight. So let's create a new program, and we'll just call this break chop. Wow, letters are hard this morning. Okay. Let's copy this. And so we want to put MIDI channel 7 because that's what I've been using for my breaks. Key group sample. Det break. For now, actually, no, let's change this. And then we want to change this too. So we'll just set this span to C3. All right. Yeah, I think that's everything. Okay, so now if we just put down a single note at the start of this pattern here. Sorry, the velocity was really low on this hit. So I'm just going to put this back as a 2-pattern loop. So obviously we're going to pitch this way up to get to a match. So I'm just kind of watching the step sequencer on the pyramid move and kind of tracking how this matches up with it. So let's go into tune. And so we're just going to adjust it here. No, actually, we'll adjust it at the sample level. I have no idea what tempo this is at to begin with, but wow, I think I might have just nailed it just by random chance. Yeah, the kick is hitting exactly on the one here, so I guess 9 semitones up works. So now if we were to put this, we're going to chop this up in a minute, but let's just throw it in here. Yeah, so it actually matches quite well. So what we're going to do is keep this at a 2-bar pattern and start kind of chopping stuff. And we use the same method that we used for the other stuff, except we have to be a little bit more precise here. So for the first one, maybe we want the kick. And yeah. So start point's okay. So I do this a little bit different. I actually have to give a lot of credit to Busy Bee. He has like a whole tutorial series where he's using an old MU sampler. And the workflow is basically the same. But instead of even like touching these endpoints, just leave it open and then move on to the next sample and then bring these back later. It just like speeds up the workflow. And we'll see that here in a second. But actually my whole workflow for chopping on this machine is all because of that, I don't know, 3 or 4 part series he did where he sliced up an almond break. And then this workflow really started to click with me after watching that. So go check his stuff out. He has a ton of stuff on these old samplers, and it's really useful. Let's start cutting this up. So we know our first sample is going to start here. So right away we can just go in and create a new version of this for our second slice. Just copy. So here we want to probably grab the snare. Okay, and then we can create another one. See, you can see how this method's way faster because we no longer have to move the endpoint. We're just grabbing a start point here. So here maybe I just want this hat. And then we can go back and move these things around to tighten stuff up after. So let's create another one. Copy it. Okay. Oops, wrong number. Oh no. There we go, 5. Copy. Okay, so I'm going to start with just these 6 slices, and then we can go back in and keep creating more after, but I just want to try and get these tightened up. So we'll start adding new key groups to this. So let's hit add, go to our second key group, and then choose the sample here. Set the span. Okay, and then we have one more to do here. Okay, awesome. So for now, actually, we can leave it on just this program. And so now I'm just going to bring the camera back down here, and we'll see how we can get this working on the pyramid. So now we're just going to start adding some additional hits into here and just choosing different slice points. So if we put one down here, for example, I can just choose a different note. So there should be a snare, for example, on C sharp. And we're just trying to make sure that there's no like gaps or flanging, or like double hits. So you can hear this snare is like hitting perfectly in time. So that probably means the slice should be good, but let's just keep going here. So let's see. So that slice might be a little bit off. Let's just try putting this back to the first slice on the second bar here. the Akai, we can try and adjust some of these samples. And this is why you don't trim things permanently until you're, until you have all your slices in place, because try adjusting this a little bit. Let's see how that sounds. No, see, I messed up that sample. Timing's now off here. We know that the sample is on E, D sharp is good, and C. What about F? Now, see, you've got some, you can hear we've got some kind of like flanging. You got double hits on this snare because it's not quite right. So I'm gonna go back in here, and that should be the last sample. It's getting a bit better here. See, you notice how there's no more double hit. It's, this part is lining up perfectly with the next slice here. And trying to make sure we've got at least one of every slice, so I can make sure it's not or make sure everything's lining up properly. Yeah. Cool. So now we can go back to the Akai and continue chopping this up. I'd like to get some more slices out of it. This is how it sounds in context right now. So next we're going to, let me just stop this here. So next we're going to chop out the rest of these, or pull out the rest of these slices here. So we had break 5, or break flat 5. So let's create a 6th one here, or copy, sorry, there we go. Okay, so now we have a copy of this. Let's select this symbol. Okay, and let's go back. Create another one. Oh, we'll call this 7. Copy. Trim. Okay, maybe we want another snare this time. And we'll call this 8. And then it'd be kind of cool to have a different kick to start from here. So we can get that double kick going. Call this 9. Yeah, that might be cool. Let's just do maybe one more here. Okay. So let's go back into our program here and just add these next 5 slices. Okay, this is the last one here. Okay. So now I'm going to mess around with this pattern and start adding in some of these new hits and see what we can come up with here. So I'm not going to talk too much here. Let's just see what we can do. So this A sharp here, which I just put down, you can hear that that's a little late, which is Q group 11. So that's got the 10th hit, or the 11th sample, sorry, which is this. Yeah, you can hear it's a bit late. So now if we go back in. Yeah, there we go, it's a bit better. And this the A sample, the sample it's assigned to A, which is, I think, 9. Let's see, let's try that. So you can hear there's like some flanging going on there. Like a double kick hit. So either this sample or the sample that's coming before it is not timed right. Yeah, see, there you go. Just nudging that start point forward a little bit, fix that. Okay, that's sounding pretty good. We could probably maybe do one more cut, and we'll make this one a little bit more interesting, and we'll take a kick and have it so we can pitch it across maybe a full octave. So let me just duplicate this, and then we'll cut something up, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so we'll copy this. And for this, I just want one of the kicks. We'll go in here and let's just assign this. We're going to change this to track though, and I'll show you why in a second. So for this span, we're going to put this to B, but the second one we're actually going to bump an octave. This way we can program in like a pitched kick roll. So I'm just going to program something in here, and then we'll tweak the pitch of this after. Yeah, see, there you go. So that's kind of cool. But we can make this kick a bit lower pitch. So let's do that. So instead of this being +9, we can try to drop it down 9. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So if we play that over top now of this 4 on the floor section. So we'll find a way to just kind of bring this in, like we'll filter it in over top and drop other elements out. So yeah, let's work on that next. All right, so I kind of made a decision off camera here not to play this break over top of this current section here. I just don't think it's working. I originally planned on kind of having it filter in, but now I think I'm just going to keep this section the way it is. And then I've gone and created another section here that's kind of like it introduces the break, and it's kind of like a breakdown coming out of this. And then we'll start building up around that with some bass. So this is what I've got so far. You can notice here, well you can't see, but I hit stop and this just keeps playing. So kind of want to go through now and just chop the ends off all these samples. So something to keep in mind when you're doing this, like in this case, I'm using 1/8 notes. So we can chop these down pretty tight and not have any gaps, but you don't want to like slice off too much, otherwise you're going to start noticing gaps in between your hits. So I like to look at it as like what's the biggest division I'd be using, and then I kind of chop them down to that. So if I'm going to be using quarter notes, then I want to make sure that each of these samples has enough audio in it to fill a quarter note. So we're just going to kind of go through, and I'm going to chop off the ends of these and then make sure everything still sounds okay. And that will free up some memory too, because right now we have 76% memory free. So it'll free up quite a bit of memory actually. So that's probably okay. I'm going to go through and do all of these and then make sure that this pattern still sounds okay before I actually commit to chopping these. So let's see how this sounds now that we've chopped everything down. Okay, so what happened here is there's 2 sections in this break where I'm using quarter notes, and so that's causing stuff to get chopped off here. So I can solve that by just adding another hit in here. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, see, that actually sounds kind of cool. And then at the end of the second bar here, there's also a little bit of a gap. So we're gonna try a different note here, or a different hit, sorry, and see how that sounds. Yeah, that's sounding pretty good. And then that's layered with our regular kick sound as well to give it some extra weight. If we mute that, you can hear it's, you know, pretty weak sounding. If I bring the kick in. Yeah, that's sounding pretty good. So now I'm going to go through and I'm just going to chop all these samples down permanently. I'm just going to save up some space here. Yeah, see, now we're back up to 91% free memory, so it made a huge difference. So I'm just going to save this quick. And then once this is saved, then we can start looking at adding a bass line to this section and maybe bringing in some of the melodic hits. I think that would be kind of cool. Alright, so I've gone ahead and just duplicated this break pattern, so it's 8 bars long, and then just added like a little minor change in the second half of it. I think before we do bass, I'm going to try and get some of these melodic hits in here. So I'm just going to play something in and then record it. Yeah, that sounds kind of cool. I think I'm going to experiment with some of the effects. There's different MIDI effects available on this machine, so I'm going to utilize the quantizer, I think, and maybe tighten that up a little bit. Cool. And then I don't think I'm going to be adding any of the vocals. I think it might just end up clashing with that little vocal chop that's in the breakbeat. We might not even need to work on bass, actually. So this is just the bass line that was in that 4 on the floor section. And it actually kind of works. Yeah, I think I'll just leave this bass line. I don't think I'm going to use the vocals in here, though. I think it sounds better with just relying on the little vocal chop that's in the break. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. So I might just leave this as like a single little change up pattern here and just play through it twice, and then we can go back into like the main. So I'm gonna just do some arrangement, and then we can play through the whole thing and see if I want to add anything else. All right, so I've gone ahead and performed this on the pyramid and just recorded the stereo out to the Akai straight into Ableton. So we'll listen through. I haven't done any additional, processing, obviously, because I've just done, the stereo track here. But I did add just some compression and a little bit of EQ just to kind of balance things out a bit more. I didn't want to go back and tweak the mix on the Akai directly just because I already recorded, and I'm lazy. So, I mean, we'll just show you here. It's not much of a difference, but it's just some subtle processing. So now I'm going to go and just play through the whole track here, and that should be it. So yeah, anyway, that's the full track. I may or may not do a third part to this series because I will be going back and recording the 8 individual outputs of the Akai. I don't know how valuable a mix down will be, at least as part of this series, just because it was mostly to focus on the Akai. But we'll see. I might do a part 3. So anyways, thanks for checking it out. Make sure to subscribe, and I'm hoping to do a lot more of this kind of stuff. Thanks.